Doctor, you are now seeing your new patient and his wife for a meeting after he has had the induction treatment. It is too early to determine whether the treatment you recommended is working or not. While you are waiting for the results of the tests, what are the first things you will ask or tell him and his caregiver today?
You've had the first phase of your treatment. Before you go home, what would either of you like to tell me or ask me about your week here?
The doctor wants to know how you and Mrs. Roberts feel about the first phase of treatment, your time at home, and how you feel in general. What will you tell him and ask him now?
Doctor, we've had a terrible and emotional few weeks since my diagnosis. Last week I felt a little bit more hopeful, as you were confident that the treatment you propose is right for me. Although we totally understand you cannot guarantee us that it will work.
Doctor, my husband and I are battling this terrifying illness. I have been writing down his physical issues and side effects for this first part of the treatment, but we're just trying to deal with the fear and uncertainty and how our lives has just totally changed. We don't even have the time to deal with our jobs or even our household responsibilities. I know that this is not your direct role, but I just thought maybe we could share some.
Your patient and his caregiver continue to be afraid and have doubts. Do you want to ask them about these physical effects, their emotional thoughts, or even their day-to-day living issues? Or do you feel it would be better to tell them your plan for the next steps in the treatment?
It is good to see you both here today. And yes, I want to hear about what you are experiencing and any thoughts or issues you are having here and at home. Before we do that, please let me start by confirming your next step in the treatment you are receiving. We are waiting for the results of the tests, and we will be deciding together the next step in your treatment, all this depending on results. So we are on plan and on schedule. Now please tell me about your week.
You have heard that you will not know if the treatment might be working. That is okay, and you are on schedule with your treatments. The doctor has now asked you or your caregiver want to describe your week here and at home during the past days.
Thank you, Doctor. Since I still feel like I'm in a fog and my daily life has changed, my wife Lisa would like to tell you her written observation of this first week.
Doctor, we appreciate you taking your time to hear our issues. First, we don't know if his physical issues or side effects are because of the leukemia or because of the treatment, because every treatment can cause nausea and constipation. My husband feels dizzy and he has a minor pain just above his belt line in his back. After his morning treatment, he doesn't feel like eating and he generally goes home straight to bed for 4 or 5 hours just so that he feels better and that he's able to eat. And then the morning after, he wakes up very early to have a big breakfast to compensate for not having the meal at noon the day before. As far as our lives are concerned, well, everything's been turned totally upside down. You know, my husband struggles to maintain his small construction business. I'm at home full-time on leave from my teaching job, which I'm hoping that I don't lose. So the running of our daily lives is just a very big challenge. And we're just trying to overcome our fears of the leukemia and just, you know, the unknown future that is ahead.
What will be the next thing you say to Mr. and Mrs. Roberts?
Thank you both for your feedback. I try to understand how difficult these weeks are and have written down your physical observations. These might be expected, and it is always a trade-off about whether the helping capabilities of a drug outweigh the possible side effects. From what I see right now, you both are dealing with the emotional side of these hard times but I'm also going to recommend you consider seeing a mental health professional. He will help deal with stress and fears. You should also be in touch with a patient organization. They offer a wide range of support and will be of help and support. Leukemia and so many other illnesses do impact people's daily lives, and you should not feel alone in this. I am hopeful if the treatment works, and if you have them in the future, life may return to be more normal.
Mr. and Mrs. Roberts, what did you think of this checkpoint meeting with your oncologist after your first phase of treatment?
It is hopeful to know our next blood tests might tell us if the treatment is starting to work. Until we know what will be the next steps, we will watch for physical symptoms and see if we can recognize emotional stress in each other. If you think that we will have continuing infusions, we can still schedule the post-insertion surgery.
Doctor, we both know that your job is the medical part of our family problem, and we thank you for your caring help. We will try our best to deal with our income and our daily living household issues. Yes, I think you're right. I think we do need to look into getting some patient support, perhaps even from a mental health specialist. It may help us to just live through this really uncertain and emotional time.
Now you have heard about the patient's first phase of treatment experience and heard from his caregiver about what they are experiencing on physical and emotional levels, what will you say next?
This has been a very good meeting today. I am pleased you both handled the induction treatment so well and for telling me about physical and emotional changes. The blood test then may tell us how things are going and will guide us along the next steps. I'm giving each of you a wallet card with contact information for us and other local hospitals and emergency services. I'm also giving you some information about mental health specialists and local patient organizations. For now, keep track of the changes you feel. Stay away from people who might be ill because you have a compromised immune system. I am also giving you a thermometer, so please watch out for any fever-type symptoms. If you have more serious physical issues, look at the card for how to get help.
Mr. and Mrs. Roberts, you have now had what seems to be a positive meeting with your doctor. Any questions before you go home today?
We are still terrified of our AML. It has totally disrupted our lives, but we're still hopeful that perhaps the treatment can still work. So we will be spending time with our friends, our family, together, and maybe even speaking to patient organizations or a mental health specialist, as you said. I will document all his physical issues and side effects as we see them, and we will use the information card if and when we need it. So thank you, and I'll see you at our next appointment.